Yes, indeed. Lost my place. Okay, yeah. Alright. It's recording? Yeah. Alright. I'm gonna be so mad if the editor puts all of that into the video. Hello viewers, and welcome to another video. In this video, I'm going to be reviewing Fear of the Dark by Iron Maiden. I'm not going to drag out this intro, I'm just going to get right into the review. That's supposed to be the cue for the, it's like, I do this, and then it cuts, and then like the picture of the album, the artwork and stuff. So I'm actually going to be talking about that next. Puts it in there. But, you know, who knows? Because apparently I have a lazy editor, so all this might actually be in the video as well. So, you know. So like the majority of Iron Maiden's artwork, there's really nothing much to complain about. Hardly anything to complain about. However, they actually switched Derek Riggs out and brought in Melvin Grant to do the artwork, which Derek Riggs did the artwork from the very first album all the way up to No Prayer for the Dying. And he's a very good artist. He did all those albums, all those golden albums that everybody knows and loves. But with this album, they actually switched and went in a different direction. I honestly have no complaints about this change. I think it was a good change for this album. The artwork seems to be darker, not with just like the shading and everything, but just the overall theme of it. And the title track and the artwork mix really well together. You could just listen to the title track and stare at the artwork throughout the entire song, and it just goes well together. It fits really well. Going on to production, once again you have Martin Bosch, the great Martin Bosch, producing this album. Sadly, this is actually the last album he produced before he retired. So, that's pretty sad. You know, he did everything from Killers to Fear of the Dark now. And he has a good name for himself, doing stuff like some Deep Purple albums, a couple Black Sabbath albums, Blue Oyster Cults, among many others. So, I mean, he's had a really good career. Although the production is very similar to those previous albums, it's still very good and very well constructed. The guy should be in like a top 10 producers list, you know. That's actually not a bad video idea. You know, I might do that one day, but not now. But, you know, this guy, he would definitely be in that list. The opening track on this album is called Be Quick or Be Dead. This is a really good opening track for this album, and I've actually been noticing how well the opening tracks for Iron Maiden albums are, and how much of a vibe that song represents for the rest of the album. I mean, I'm not in any way saying that if you hear the first track of an Iron Maiden album, you hold the entire album. It's just, you know, they represent a good vibe for the album. So it kind of like introduces you to the overall album. You know, that's what an opening track is supposed to do. It's supposed to give an introduction of how the band is, how this album is, how the vibe is, majority of the time, unless you got some crazy band doing like extreme heavy metal in the first song and then they go to rap or something, I don't know. The next track is From Here to Eternity, and honestly I have to say that this is one of the weakest songs on the album, which is kind of sad because we had a really good opening track, and like I said, it represents the vibe of the rest of the album, and going into the next song didn't really do that. It didn't, you know, keep the vibe going or anything like that. The song is nowhere near terrible. Honestly, it's a pretty average song. Average guitar, average bass, average drums, you know, it's just kind of decent. The thing that really bothers me with the song is the vocals. And the background vocals on the chorus especially. I just really didn't feel like the background vocals did anything for the song. And they were just there just to be there, and I didn't like that. I honestly felt that the vocals were the weakest part of the album, which I really hate to say that because Bruce Dickinson is such an amazing vocalist. But I honestly felt like his spirit wasn't in this, which kind of makes sense considering that he left the band right after this album. You know, usually when musicians do that, their performance on, you know, live or the album, the most recent album, kind of shows that they're not really getting into it as much, which is sad. But I mean, we all know that he came back and everything. Everything's good. He's the current vocalist and stuff. But at the time, he you know, was quitting. He quit. You know, at that time, we didn't know if he was going to come back or not. Compare his performance from Afraid to Shoot Strangers to Hallowed Be Thy Name. That's probably the best example I can give at the top of my head. But, you know, listen to his performance on both of those songs, and you can kind of, you know, you definitely be able to hear the difference in it. And I'm not at all saying that I think his performance on this album is bad or anything like that. It just wasn't as good as any previous albums. I mentioned Afraid to Shoot Strangers a couple of minutes ago, so I'm going to go ahead and talk about that song real quick. I think it's definitely one of my favorite, probably my second favorite song on the album. It's a really good song, and it kind of sucks that, you know, Bruce Dickinson wasn't really all into it, because it would sound much better if he was, you know, if he was really getting into it, like I mentioned before. But yeah, it's a really good song. It's very melodic. It's just a good song. It did remind me a lot of how his vocals were represented in Hallowed Be Thy Name, or constructed or whatnot. But that's kind of why I compared those two. But by far the best song on the album is the title track. The title track is the best song. Fear of the Dark is the best song on Fear of the Dark. No one saw that one coming. Anyway. Yeah, this song's an Iron Maiden classic. I mean, it's up there. Every time we talk about Iron Maiden, this song pops up somewhere. You know, showing your friend Iron Maiden for the first time, you show them, like, you know, Run to the Hills, The Trooper, you know, maybe Power Slave. You show them the song Iron Maiden as well, you know, and then you're like, hey, here's Fear of the Dark. Everybody loves Fear of the Dark. It's a great song. The guitars are amazing on it. There's hardly, like, I honestly could not find anything wrong with the song. I never had that moment, even when I wasn't, like, getting into it and just enjoying it for what it is. When I tried to be critical of it, I could not find anything. The song's perfect. It's amazing. It's really all I have to say about that song. The best thing about this album, and arguably the best thing about every Iron Maiden album, is the solos. The solos are just pure epicness, and they just blow your mind every time. They were very well constructed. It's just so good. So good. Kind of like the same thing I said with the song Fear of the Dark. Even when I'm not enjoying, like, listening to it just to enjoy it, and I'm trying to be critical and really be kind of nitpicky or something, I can't find anything wrong with the solos. The solos are just perfect. They've always been perfect up to this point, and so on, you know. The solos are perfect with Iron Maiden. They know how to write good solos. That's really all I have to say about that. All of the instruments were very well done. Nico McBrain did very good with the drums. Definitely always enjoy listening to him. Steve Harris, obviously everyone knows Steve Harris does an amazing job. Some of, like, other than, like, the solos, some of the leads kind of bothered me, like the intro to, like, From Here to Eternity, which is a song that I mentioned before. But the leads at the beginning kind of bothered me. I didn't feel like it was, I just didn't think it was all that great, you know. It was probably guitar-wise, the intro to From Here to Eternity was probably the worst part for guitar only, you know. But honestly, that song was kind of like the worst part of the album anyway. Another song that's really good is Wasting Love. That's probably right after Fear of the Dog. That's another classic. It's one of those underrated classics, you know. It's a good song. It has a good name, you know. If you really have a conversation with other Iron Maiden fans, like hardcore Iron Maiden fans, Wasting Love is probably one that will definitely come up. But it's not like one that will come up that everybody knows that aren't necessarily Iron Maiden fans, like Fear of the Dog. But, you know, Wasting Love is a good song. And, yeah, the solos on it are amazing. Everything about it is pretty good. So, yeah, it's a good song. Overall, I think this album is very good. I honestly have a bit more complaints, mostly around Bruce Dickinson's vocals, but then again, every now and again you get some of those cleaner, softer, more like melodic guitar parts that kind of bother you, or bother me. I don't know if they bother you or not. Do they? Do they bother you? Because if they don't bother you, then that's fine. But, you know, they bother me. I definitely recommend this album. It's a great album. And one thing I'm very proud of to say, well, I don't only have it, but I have first press of Fear of the Dog. That's first press. If any CD collectors understand that, you know, it's hard. I find it quite difficult to get first press Iron Maiden because they've remastered all the original albums so much. It's hard to do that. So that's something I'm kind of proud of right there. I'm talking about the album so I can show it off, okay? This is my YouTube video, not yours. I can show off whatever I want. In conclusion, this album is excellent. It's neo-fantastic. However, aside from the vocals, which I've touched on enough throughout this video, there were some things that they were kind of like trying new things with, like the guitar, or just it was really just the guitar that they were trying new things with. I didn't feel like they fit as well. I just kind of feel like they should have just kept with the regular kind of leads or whatnot. It was mostly like the cleaner stuff, except for like Afraid to Shoot Strangers, because that one was really good. I found that one to be really good, even though the majority of that song is like a clean, non-distorted guitar. But yeah, the album's really good. I honestly find this to be the worst Iron Maiden album before Bruce Dickinson first left. But honestly, that's kind of to be expected, considering that this is the album that he actually left on. Thank you for watching the video. Definitely recommend this album. If you've not heard it already, you've most likely heard the song Fear of the Dog, but I definitely recommend the rest of the album. Very good, very well constructed. It's the last time we'll hear the production of Martin Bosch, and I felt that he produced it still very well. The score, I give it a 7 out of 10. I give this album a 7 out of 10. The dog won't shut up.